South Africa has one of the highest rates of unemployed doctors in the world, and so here's how to beat the odds. Hi, I'm Zahra. I'm a medical doctor and an entrepreneur, and I've been working in the public health space for the last 7 years. I'm also a researcher, an educator, and a Mandela Washington Fellowship alum, with a background and master's in global surgery. I've navigated the competitive job market space. I've designed training programs, led teams, and helped doctors secure posts. I know firsthand how the system works and how to get through it. So, what's the big problem? South Africa produces thousands of new doctors every year, but the number of posts that become available doesn't seem to keep up with the same pace. And so there's a mismatch. And many provinces, many posts have rigid hiring systems, limited spaces, limited posts, and it's highly competitive. And so as a result, many doctors are struggling to secure posts, especially out of community service. And so the unemployment or underemployment rate with South African doctors is incredibly real. And so knowing how to navigate this space is as important as your medical knowledge. And so if I had to be completely honest, I would say that this process should probably start even during internship. If you start in the last few months of community service, I think you're leaving a lot on the table. And it's not impossible, but it just makes it that much harder to catch up. Whereas if you know what goal you're aiming towards when you become an intern, it makes it that much harder to start using those years of employment to start preparing for what you ultimately want. And so there are 5 key areas that make you stand out. They're not random, but they're essentially what hiring committees use to make a selection from the candidates. The first area is clinical experience post-internship. And so now, unfortunately, you can't rush this. It's purely based on time. But knowing how much time you've had in a specific department for the discipline you're ultimately wanting is a huge factor. If you spend 12 months in psychiatry, for example, but you really want obstetrics, those 12 months are not really going to serve you in the same way as if you had done a surgical discipline. Number 2, education and courses. It's really important that a hiring committee knows that since you've become an intern, since you've become a doctor, your development and your own learning has continued to progress. Whether this is through courses, diplomas, exams, whatever the case may be. Just make sure that the ones that you actually do are going to help you get the post you actually want. And so, for example, if you're going to go into internal medicine and you want to do a peds course or a neonatology course, it might not serve you as well. But if you're wanting to get into a pediatric post, you want to make sure you're doing those types of courses. So it's really important to know what courses matter, what courses don't, and where to ultimately spend your time and money. Number 3, teaching and training others. This one's incredibly important, but ultimately you do need to show that you provided teaching and training and education to somebody else. You enriched somebody else's life, you made something better for somebody else, you passed on knowledge. Clinicians want to know, hiring committees want to know that are you a doctor that ultimately leads and improves their spaces, or are you someone who just reaps the benefits? And so really teaching and training, super important. And if you've been a part of a public healthcare system, I guarantee that you would have done it in some way, shape or form. Number 4, research and academics. And this is just saying that have you gotten involved being able to improve public healthcare standards, understand the area that you're in? Do you have data that reflects this? Have you been involved in research in some way? Have you been a data collector? Have you done an audit for your department? Have you done a full-blown research project that answered some clinical question in your space and you put interventions in place to help correct it? You are understanding your area. You are contributing to the pool of knowledge that exists in medicine. And the last one is admin and leadership. And this is ultimately just saying, what are your skills? Are you a good leader? Do you have good time-keeping ability? Are you able to manage teams well? What is your administrative skills? What are your leadership skills? How does that come through? How do you show that as one of the candidates? Departments want to know that who they're bringing in will uplift their spaces, will make it better. How can this department become stronger as a result of you coming into it? They don't want to know that someone coming in is going to make the department weaker. They ultimately want to know that this person is going to make their space stronger. So what can you bring to the table that reflects this? And so you're probably asking, but how do you actually apply it? And so here are the practical steps. 1, you need to have a CV. 2, you need to fill out something called a Z83 form, which is basically an application form for any government employee wanting a position in South Africa. 3, you want to start reaching out to the departments that you want to work in. Send your CV to clinicians, to heads of departments, so that they can get to know who you are. Find out when interviews are taking place so that you can start putting your portfolio together. It's really important to know that interviews happen year-round, so you want to make sure you're always prepared. There's no such thing as an interview season or a hiring season. It doesn't happen in February or November. It can truly happen at any point of the year, because the reality is that people move in and out of posts all the time. And so it's important to remain ready at any given point, because you never know when you might be getting that phone call. And so prep while you wait. Do the important courses, keep building your portfolio, keep building your CV, and keep networking in those spaces. So you're probably asking, why does it even matter? Is it really important? Why do I have to bother during internship? Why can't I only do this in community service? And so the reason is that waiting is going to cost you. And it's going to cost you about 900 to a million rand every year, because that's ultimately what a post is worth. And so every year, every moment that you delay or that time has passed is about 1 million rand in income that you could be losing. And I don't know about you, but 1 million rand to me seems like a lot of money to walk away from. And the big reason why a lot of people don't get called is that they tend to focus on only 1 or 2 areas of the 5. They tend to focus on clinical exposure and courses, but they forget that they're leaving 60% of what really matters on the table. So leadership and admin, research and academics, teaching and training, 60% of what they're looking for, often a lot of doctors ignore. And so I'll leave you with this. Start early, build intentionally, and know what you're aiming for and what you're wanting to get to. I'm curious, what's your biggest struggle in landing a post? Drop a comment down below. And if you'd like this video and you'd like to see more, my latest video is up here and you can always subscribe to my channel. I'll see you in the next one.